Welcome back to Day 8, as well as the beginning of Week 2 of the course in Mastery. If you're a recent subscriber, I welcome you to Mastery TV, and I applaud your decision toward creating a better future. Today, Tom Wood is going to talk to you about the important skill of listening, and Dr. Tony Alessandra is going to give you concrete tips on becoming a better listener. Here's Tom.
Thank you, Coral. This week is about communication, listening, influencing, negotiating, networking, the skills and strategies to building an incredibly successful life. Great communicators do great things. Think about it. Jesus, Muhammad, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King Jr., all incredible communicators. All did amazing things. The level of your communication is the level of your life. The skills we're going to teach you today and this week can literally change your life forever. But you've got to be serious. You've got to take notes. You've got to take action. When we give you tasks to do them. Don't just watch Mastery Television. Participate. On to today's lesson, how to listen. I was on an airplane from Washington, D.C. to Boston, and an elderly gentleman came up to me and said, "May I have your seat," which was an aisle seat, and so I could sit next to my wife. You'd have to take a middle seat. I was brought up that you do nice things for people when they ask, especially elderly people, and I said, "Sure, not a problem." The man then turned around and said to me, "Son, let me pay you a compliment. You remind me of a good friend of mine, John F. Kennedy. You have the same graciousness, charisma, and I just want to say thank you very much. In fact, I wrote a book about John F. Kennedy, and I'd like to sign it for you." I was stunned, of course, feeling pretty tall. I asked him if he could just say that part about John F. Kennedy a little louder. No, I'm just kidding. But I was really impressed. He then went on to tell me an incredible story about John F. Kennedy. When John F. Kennedy announced he was running for the President of the United States, he invited a few friends over so they could celebrate with him. Even though it was his day, he greeted his friend, Ken O'Donnell, the man on the plane, by saying, "Ken, you're wearing the shoes I bought you 2 years ago." That was a horrible John F. Kennedy, but I tried anyway. He looked at him and talked to him about something he did for him 2 years ago on his day. You see, this is what made John F. Kennedy special. He loved people. He loved them so much that he listened to them all the time and remembered everything he could about them. That's what made him a great communicator. If you want to be a great communicator, you've got to learn how to listen to people. Listening is a lifelong process. It's something you want to study every day for your whole life. Today's clip is from an expert in listening and communicating. Coral's going to introduce it to you. Tomorrow, you've got to stay around. I'm going to teach you the most important skill in the world. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Tom. Today's clip is from Dr. Tony Alessandra. Tony is a communications expert and the author of 14 widely published books, as well as a master of what he calls the Platinum Rule, a variation of the Golden Rule which simply states, treat others as they would like to be treated. Today, Tony is going to give us an acronym for 6 steps we should follow to become more effective listeners. I think you'll find it helpful. Here's Tony.
When I talk about listening, I use a model. CARESS, I call it. C-A-R-E-S-S. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I'll just give you a thumbnail sketch here. C-A-R-E-S-S. Those are 6 steps that we should do to be more effective listeners. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest gifts you can give an employee, a loved one, a child, is the gift of effective listening. Here's the 6 steps. C, concentrate. You cannot listen if you cannot hear. That's the key. You can hear and not listen, but you cannot listen without hearing. So you have to concentrate on what the other person is telling you, blocking out everything else that's going on around you. And I'll tell you, a good exercise is in the hallways here, when there's a lot of people around, walking by, saying hello, try to carry on a conversation with somebody and concentrate. And not carry on a conversation like this. Oh, yeah, oh, hi, how you doing? Yeah, and the other thing, oh, hi, yeah, I'll be with you in a second. And block everything else out. You ever notice in a movie when there is a person and scenery behind that person? When the camera focuses on the person, what happens to the scenery? It blurs. And then when the camera focuses on the scenery, what happens to the person? It blurs. Figure and ground. That's what it's called. Figure, ground. Focus, blur. Believe it or not, you can do that with your ears. You can do that with your ears. You can focus on one person, blur everything else out. Or I'll tell you, how is it that a parent in a playground with 100 kids can hear the cry of their child above all the other noise? Think about it. Focus, blur, figure, ground. It needs practice, but when you get good at it, I'll tell you, it is an incredible skill. I know every so often, I was having dinner with Jim Cathcart last night. There was a couple seated next to us having this real steamy conversation. And I was trying to carry on this conversation with Jim, but one ear was over there. And we all do that. We all do that. But concentrate. There's a concept called hitchhiking. Hitchhiking. The ears follow the eyes. The ears follow the eyes. Wherever the eyes are looking, that's where the ears are going to initially pay attention. Which kind of brings us to the A. The A is acknowledging. Acknowledge to the person that you are in fact listening. Show that you're listening. And you tell me, what is the one thing you look for more than anything else? Eye contact. And that's that hitchhiking theory. I'm sure you have had this experience at least once in your life, especially if you're married, at breakfast, Sunday morning, reading the newspaper. I'm reading the newspaper, my wife is talking to me. She said, Tony, put the paper down and listen to me. Put it down and said, I am listening. I heard every word you said. Yeah, what did I say? And then I repeat it back, and she gets even angrier, like I was playing a game. Eye contact is absolutely crucial. But how do you show somebody you're listening? Eye contact, head nods, vocal prompts. Really? By the way, let me tell you about vocal prompts. On a telephone, if somebody is giving the exact same vocal prompt over and over and over again, they are not listening. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. The R is respond. Remember that listening is not necessarily meant to be a monologue by the other person with you. And I'll tell you this, if all you do is listen and don't say anything, what happens after a while is an information imbalance. Person talking says, wait a second, this person's starting to know too much about me. I don't know anything about them. I don't know where they stand. And they start feeling uncomfortable. Even though you are listening, if you are not participating and responding, discomfort happens. So responding is feeding back, clarifying what was said, paraphrasing what was said, adding something to what was said, bringing it back on track, using empathy statements. By the way, empathy statements, if you have a child, this is great for children. Child comes home, either something bad happened or something good happened, and they want to tell you. One of the best things you can do is an empathy statement. An empathy statement is 3 parts. Tentativeness, all right? Identify the emotion, and then put it in the context in which it happened. Let me show you how a child comes home with a report card. They're so excited, so excited. So you say, oh, Jessica, you know, I get the impression that you're so excited, right? I get the impression, tentativeness, that you're so excited, emotion, that you got all A's on your report card. The context that caused the emotion. And I'll tell you, it especially works when people are upset about something. They come home, fail a test, broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. Sometimes they don't want to hear advice. All they want is a sounding board. That's all they want. That's it. And you could say, Virginia, I really sense that you're really hurt that your boyfriend broke up with you. That's all you have to say. That's called an empathy statement. And then all you do is listen and let them vent. Let them vent. The E in the caress is exercising emotional control. A lot of things cause us emotionally not to listen. Let's say we don't like the person. You don't like a person, you put a negative spin on everything they say and do. You like the person, you put a positive spin on everything they say and do. Am I right? People can say a word or a phrase, and you stop listening. Emotionally charged words. Boy, I played this to the hilt when I was a kid with my mother. Now, my mother is a very emotional New York Italian woman. I had to make sure I was close to an exit. Whenever I did something wrong, my mother would say to me in a very emotional, "Why did you do that?" Here was my emotional word. Because I felt like it. Whoa! You ever see The Incredible Hulk? The eyes? I mean, her eyes would get so big and she'd be looking for something to throw at me, but boom, I'd be out the door. But think, what are things that people can say that totally turn off your ability to listen? Off-color jokes, sexist remarks, racial statements, ethnic slurs. What? Understand what those emotional blocks are and work through. Why does it cause me not to listen? By the way, it could be politics. One side versus the other. But make sure that you understand your emotional blocks and exercise emotional control. The two S's at the end of caress, the first S is called sensing. S-E-N-S-I-N-G. And sensing I've already talked about. Sensing is paying attention to the vocal and visual. The nonverbals. The last S is structure. And that is paying attention to the verbal. Structuring is being able to feed back to somebody the topic, the main points, the supporting points, priority, sequence. But it's taking the verbal content and being able to feed that back. That is a thumbnail course in listening. There's a lot more to it.
That's it for day 8. Tomorrow is going to cover a skill that can drastically improve your effectiveness in any area of your life. See you tomorrow.